It's not, but it is only the second film we've had here. Our first movie was a little low-budget thriller called The Jogger, and we were thrilled to get in here. The second film we did, we got distribution before the festival, and they were real sticklers about no more film festivals, and so we were, unfortunately, if we would have been lucky enough to get in, we couldn't even qualify. So we were ecstatic when we got invited back this year. Yeah, so this is our second time. You know, it's a real long process making a film, and you never know. I mean, you're there every day, and you're watching it filmed, and we're fortunate enough that we get to write almost everything that we do, so we know it's there. But you're always worried when you start editing that it's not going to come together. And we've been very fortunate that it always comes together. It takes a long time, but it comes together in the editing process, and it's always very rewarding to share your work with other people. It's subjective. Not everybody's going to like what you do. But it's always nice to see reactions and people laugh or screech or whatever it is at those moments and kind of experience that. And quite frankly, it's, we all have families and they're all really proud and all that kind of stuff. So getting to share that with my family and it's not stuff that they absolutely hate is cool. And there's just a great community of filmmakers in Oklahoma. And them getting to see their names in the credits and know that they put in a lot of hard work and they can experience the fruits of their labor is always very rewarding as well. Yeah, my co-writer, co-producer Casey Twinter's wife heard an NPR story about most overlooked novels. And it was Nancy Picard, and she read it. She said, Casey, you need to read it. And then she said, Jeff, you need to read it. Casey reached out to the author. It just so happened that she was from Kansas, which is where Casey's from, Kansas City. And she agreed to let us adapt it for basically nothing because we're independent filmmakers. There's not a lot of money out there. She loved it, and then we just started pitching it and got real lucky with Blake Robbins, the director, and a lot of the cast. And then, of course, when we got the money, she got paid. But we probably wrote the first draft around 2013, 14, and then we went and made another movie, and then we came back to it and kind of refined it, and filmed it in 2015, I think, the fall. Yeah. Well, I thought the book was very cinematic in the first place. It was a great challenge. I loved the challenge. Books are pretty dense, and you have to cut out a lot. So the challenge was finding where was the meat of the story. You have to cut characters, and you have to figure out what really fits. And then, as a creative person, you always want to put a little bit of your own stuff into it. And Nancy she never gave us a note. Literally, never gave us a note. I think we were pretty true to the book, but she was really cool about let us kind of add little stuff here and there. But once that I knew the book was cinematic. Once we refined the script, I was pretty sure that it could make a decent movie. It doesn't always translate from the page to the screen, but we were, again, very fortunate with a great director, actors, cast, crew, all that kind of stuff. So all we had to do was write it. They had to do all the hard stuff. So, yeah. Of course. It's about a young girl, a 20-year-old girl who finds out that her parents' killer has recently been released from prison. And she starts doing some digging. She's very angry. She confronts the killer. That doesn't go well for her. And she starts doing some digging, and it's a small town in rural Oklahoma. And she starts to discover that maybe there are a few secrets that she was not aware of, and maybe he's guilty, but not as guilty as they made him seem. And it's very much it's a murder mystery kind of, but it's also very much a family drama about small town rural communities and how there's usually one family that kind of runs things a little bit. And so there's a lot of obstacles and twists and turns, and everybody has been pleased. I think one of the big things that we get is like, who did it? I couldn't figure it out. And at the end, it was that person or whatever. And so I think all those things kind of culminated in something that that we were all very proud of in the end. I mean, I haven't traveled to every state, but there's probably not cooler people in the United States than Okies, I don't think. They're just cool people, and they're extremely hardworking and very talented. The biggest sense of fulfillment that I get, other than making these relationships, these kind of familial relationships, is I love it when people come and go, hey, I recognized this place or this place. Because when I was a kid, there weren't a lot of movies shot in Oklahoma. I think Rain Man and Twister, I remember, and I'd go, I know that. And I just thought, I had a connection to Hollywood. I mean, I didn't, but I felt like that, and I love it when people can kind of connect and recognize those things, because we've got such a diverse landscape, and it's such a beautiful state, and I love showing it off, and people getting to witness that. And again, but it all comes back to we've been very fortunate to work with some really, really cool people on our crews and casts and everything else, and just getting to see them every time and getting to hang out with them again. We've been fortunate enough to do 4 projects now. It's always, I don't feel like it's a job when we get to film things. I feel like it's getting to go hang out with friends again. It's work, and they work, but it's fun, you know? So anyway, yeah.